I don't want to brag, but I'm clean again. This is another shower. Stand up a little to show you that it's not the same shirt. It's not the Public Enemy shirt. Just have a lot of black shirts. It's Riter Radio. It's episode 284. It's, what's today? Thursday? Today's Thursday. It's March 26th. You know how I know it's Thursday? Sweet 16 is back, so we've got basketball today. Last night I was excited. I got a text from my dad during the day. Said, I didn't listen very well today. Do I have kids' sports I have to attend? Or something along those lines. Are those punks playing anything? And they weren't. They had nothing. And I said, no, it's an adult sports night because we've got the Sabres in action. And they remain red hot. And, you know, they got a point. They did it again. Right? I mean, it's tough. If you watched this team, you knew nothing about the team, and you just heard, yeah, they're not bad. And then you watched consecutive games where they trailed by 2 and then came back and tied it and then took the lead and then lost in overtime. You'd be like, I don't know about their defense or something like that. It's not about that. It's about the attitude and the grit and all the stuff that works, all the stuff they were referring to it as I was watching it was the national broadcast yesterday. So it's no knock on our guys, but I like when you get a chance to hear other people talk about the team, especially in like when they're on a run like this. You get the sense, paying attention to national or international or North American, whatever you want to call it, sports media, that people just want the Sabres to be good again. They recognize that Buffalo is probably the most Canadian American city, and it might be the perfect NHL spot, right? Because the crowd is always a large percent Canadian, legitimizing the game. When the Canadian teams are in town, there's like if not 50-50, you know what I mean? There's a back and forth in the crowd. It's an electric building, and then people get fired up as the team gets good again, and we've been waiting for 14 years or whatever the number is, and why don't I just figure out the number? I know they last played a playoff game in 11. So if we go 2 through 1 is 10, 2 is 11, 3 is 12, 4 is 13, 5 is 15. It's 15 years. Is that right? Again, doing math live on the air, dumb. I'm actually decent at math. I'm not good at talking and trying to entertain while doing math. So whatever it is. But you get the sense that especially like Darren Pang was on the pregame show yesterday. And I'm watching him, and that was very funny, by the way, when they had him and compared him to Dana Carvey. If you saw that, it was great. But Darren Pang was here. You know, I remember talking to him a lot back even the Cup run in 99. So there was a lot of ESPN at the time. It was Gary Thorne and Brian Engblom. Brian Engblom, I was scrolling through my phone looking for somebody. It was one of those things where I knew the guy, but I couldn't think of his last name, but I knew his name was Brian. So I went in my phone, and I'm looking at Brian. I'm scrolling through. I'm like, Brian Engblom. I haven't thought of that name in forever. And then the next day, I saw him on TV. Weird. I'm not going to call him. I don't have any reason to. But it was just bizarre. Like, haven't thought of you. Saw you in my phone. There you are on television. That's a side note. That's not what I meant to talk about there. Darren Pang was here during, I'm not going to call it the glory years, but like the Hasek years, the oh my God excitement in the building as the Sabres went to the Cup final. And Darren Pang was there for the whole thing. And then he has disappeared out of my life, in part because hockey disappeared out of my life for the most part, but also because ESPN's connection to hockey kind of went away. And so it's not, I said Brian Engblom. I'm forgetting about who's the guy that used to play for the Flyers. I could picture him that used to do the games with Gary Thorne. Gary Thorne and Bill. Come on, you guys can do it. Bill. It might not be Bill. He had a mustache. He was a tall, former Flyers, either defenseman or like, power forward type of guy. But those guys used to do the games, and they were around all the time. And Steve Levy, I get used to those people because the Sabres went to the playoffs so often. And, if you play, they played 7 series in 2 years, in 98 and 99. 7 playoff series, many of them being covered by national broadcast. Like, that's what it used to feel like. Ron McLean would just be in the building. Don Cherry would just be in the building. I guess I already said Steve Levy. Buccigross would just be in the building. All those people. And then you see No, you're thinking of Engblom, and that's not who I mean. That's Brian Engblom. But there's another guy, Bill. Do I have to? I'll Google it. Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. Bill Clement. I didn't Google it. I thought of it. Bill Clement was the other guy. But Engblom was a part of it. Like he'd be the third wheel, or he'd be on the secondary broadcast with Levy. But anyway, all those guys were around, and you get the sense, even with like Bissonnette on TV, that they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna like playoff hockey in Buffalo, national audience. You're gonna like it. It's gonna be cool. So you get the sense that like the crew is rooting for you. And it's very weird after a Bills drought that coincided with the end of it coincided with the start of the Sabres drought, and it's weird to feel the same sort of thing right now coming off of national media as we had for several years with the Bills, because the Bills were just sort of a nothing, and then Josh Allen got here, and then the talk became, you guys know what it's like if football gets good in Buffalo, because it's really cool. This is good for TV. You'll like it. It's good for the league. And now there's a similar. Bill Engvall is a comedian. Brian Engblom is a former hockey player. He played for the Kings. He played for the. I'm talking to the chat. I apologize if you're just like listening and not paying attention to the chat. Bill Engvall's a comic. He's in that blue collar comedy thing. Here's your sign, is Bill Engvall. Here's your sign. If you're stupid, you should have a sign. Here's your sign. That's him. Brian Engblom, hockey. Bill Clement worked with Gary Thorne on ESPN hockey broadcasts. Sorry. All same era, except I've seen Bill Engvall more recently than I've seen Bill Clement. And I have seen Brian Engblom more recently than both of them, and that was an accident after I saw his name in the phone. Does any of this show make sense? It's 10:22, and I already feel like I'm ranting like a crazy person. I haven't even said anything yet. And I feel like if you just tuned in, you're like, what's this guy all about? You're like, oh, he's insane. He just talks to himself and randomly states names. But there is a point to this. And the point is, seeing Darren Pang made me feel something. Like, oh, yeah, I remember what it was like having national coverage of Sabres hockey. And then you got the sense during the game that they know. They know what this place can be. And it was more, it felt like a little heavier Bruins broadcast because, honestly, the game was far more important for the Bruins than it was for the Sabres. And, they were a little more desperate or whatever. But when it came to the third period, and Botterill, the woman, I can't remember her first name, but the color analyst, Jason Botterill's sister, was telling a story about talking to Lindy Ruff and when did it really turn, and it was Edmonton, and they came back, and then they gave up the McDavid goal, and then they won in overtime anyway. And all of it sounded like 05-06, when the Sabres were all right to start the season, and expectations weren't super high, and they had missed the playoffs, and then there was a lockout. And then suddenly, and this is, again, one of the things I remember from covering that team, being at like the Northtown Center, or Pepsi Center at the time, but the Amherst facility where they were practicing for whatever reason. Maybe the NCAA tournament was in town, or I don't know. They were practicing at Amherst, and I was there, and I watched as Lindy Ruff would throw out these scenarios. Like, you're down to 31 seconds left, go. And they do this like cross-rank 3-on-3 thing, and it's probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen from like a practice standpoint, like behind the scenes professional athletes, is watching these guys and how they were able to maneuver in space, playing, I want to say 3-on-3, but it might have been 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, cross-rank, full-sized human beings, massive dudes on skates, and watching them basically just scramble like, I don't even know, water bugs, I guess, would be the thing. But like picturing Maxima Finneganov stick handling through a full crowd of people playing sideways on a hockey rink in a scenario where Lindy Ruff said, we need 2 goals in 31 seconds or whatever it was. All right, down 1, 8 seconds to go. And that was the kind of stuff they practiced, like scenario-based practice. Knowing that he's back, I know he hasn't lost that part of his game plan. So knowing that that's how he thinks and how they work, and maybe other coaches do this too. Maybe it's very standard, and I just happen to be standing next to this guy, so I associate it with him. But twice in a row, down going into the third period. It was 2 goals the other night. It was one, or no, it was tied, and I don't even remember at this point. No, they were down 2-1 after 2 last night. I was like, well, that's okay. And then you see Benson going up the side. I'm like, if he pokes it past, whoop, there he goes. Yep, this is going to be a. And I was like, that should be a cross check. Give me a penalty. And then it was a penalty. I was like, well, the Sabres have the lead now because they're about to score. And in like 31 seconds or something later, Thompson finds Zucker on just a perfect little backhand pass, wide open net, tap in, and they take the lead. Now, ultimately, they give up a goal, goes to overtime, whatever. But for a team that's been on the kind of tear that it is, to have 2 games where it trailed in the third and still fought to get a point, that's nice. Because you're not at the bottom of the standings. If you're the one trying to creep up, grabbing a point because you trailed is helpful, but this is just security. That was game you easily could have, should have lost, or easily could have, should have gained no points. And you got one. And the other night, down 2 on the road at the end of a 4-game road trip. I mean, that's impressive, man. That's the kind of stuff that translates to, yeah, we don't give up, so we're going to be all right in the playoffs. Doesn't mean you win the cup. Doesn't mean you win even a series. But it means that you're not out of a game. And if you're never out of a game, and it'll happen, there's going to be a 5-1 loss somewhere. But speaking in generalities, the mentality is there. All right, we're down 2. That's not a big deal. We score 2 all the time. Let's go score 2 right now. Let's put 2 pucks on the ice. We'll score with both of them. They've got that. Call it killer instinct. Call it, I don't know, pride? Whatever it is. The way they carry themselves night in and night out is, we're here. You got to beat us. And I love it, man. It was great. So I was excited that there was hockey and that baseball started. Baseball was kind of a dud in that the Yankees just ripped off, I don't know, they got 6 or 7 consecutive guys on base in the second base. It was 5-0 immediately. Last I saw was 7-0. I didn't check the final score. I know Aaron Judge struck out 4 times, but it didn't matter at all. Hits were just kind of falling in, and it got away from the Giants right away. So that was not a thrilling game. But there are 161 more games left for those 2 teams, and also 162 games left for everybody else. So I think there will probably be some pretty good baseball games this season, despite the fact that last night's was not perfect. Very weird to tune in. See, first of all, Barry Bonds' head is back, much more similar to Pirates days than Giants days. And I didn't catch the beginning of the broadcast. I didn't think they were coming on until 8. And so I thought I had time to watch this. I thought I was going to get hockey at 7 and baseball at 8. That was going to give me like a full period. Then I'll flip over, and then I'll be able to go back and forth. It didn't quite work out that way because hockey wasn't until 7:30 and baseball wasn't until like 8:20. So I guess it kind of did work. It just shifted, and I predicted the times wrong. Either way, when I tuned into Netflix, it was Barry Bonds sitting somewhere in the stadium talking to comedian Bert Kreischer, who was drinking a Corona in a canoe that seemed to be donated by Netflix. It seemed as though, and I didn't catch the whole thing, but it looked like there were 73 Netflix canoes out in McCovey Cove in, beyond right field of Oracle Park in San Francisco, which is very cool. I love that, the whole concept. I like people just paddling around outside. You gonna go to the game? No, I'm gonna go on a boat outside the game and see what happens. Like, if you're there, I guess you listen and hope to hear, like, here it comes. But they never really say that. If you're the Giants play-by-play guy, wouldn't that be a part of your mission to alert people that are floating in water outside of the stadium that a ball was incoming? Like, just heads up. Like, maybe your home run call becomes heads up, McCovey Cove. Something like that. So baseball's underway. I don't need to know the final score. I know the Yankees won, and I know they were up 7-0. I quit in the 8th to watch regular stuff. I departed from the family room. But we did have, at least at one point, there were three of us. My wife was in for all of it, which is nice. Getting her back into sports helps me watch more sports. And one of my sons was probably off watching baseball by himself or playing video games secretly or texting with his little girlfriend or something. I don't know what he was doing. That was one of them. Little guy participated. He was watching TV in the other room, something stupid that he always watches, some YouTube crap. Then we recruited him to come watch some baseball, some hockey. He was fine. And then the oldest, and this is the most remarkable story, if you know my kids, the two younger ones are sports psychos. The oldest is mostly into music. Very, very into music, guitar and drums and piano and saxophone and other stuff. He writes songs. He's in bands. He does all that stuff. But as he has grown and reached basically my height at age 13, my height with a real build, like a basketball build, he has gotten much better at basketball. And then once you get better at it, you get more interested. So you get better and you practice more. 10:30 last night, this kid so we're sitting in the family room, mostly in the dark. There's like one light on, but we're just watching TV, wife and I. And I hear the door from the garage, the kitchen to the garage open. And my wife says, "Zach, is that you?" He's like, "Yeah." Because that's how he talks, because he's 13. I assume he's going to the garage to get something to drink from the garage fridge to take upstairs to his room to hide from us for the rest of the night. And the door, I think he's doing that. Then I hear the door close, and then he doesn't come back in. And the next thing I hear is dribbling of a basketball at 10:30 at night from my non-sports kid. I've got three kids. One of them is a non-sports kid, except in a year where he plays on three basketball teams, and one of them's got a playoff game this Sunday. And suddenly, that's all he wants to do. He got home from school yesterday. First thing was, "Can you move the cars?" I also think it's time to teach him to move the cars because this is happening on a regular basis. My wife does not agree. But we've got two vehicles that are in the driveway, and they block the basketball hoop, and you can't practice basketball if the vehicles are there. But we're still in the, what do you call it? The parking ban era in Amherst. I checked yesterday to see if it's lifted. It was lifted like March 3rd in 6 different places. I don't think Amherst has done it. And now that I think about it, I never put the cars away last night. So during the break, I'll go see if I have tickets. But I don't think I will, because I will say this about Amherst. They've been very cool. I have parked accidentally in the street. We've got to be close to, it's at least a dozen times in the 5 or 6 years I've lived here. Always for this sort of reason. Left the car in the street because I needed to run the snowblower. Left the car in the street because the kids wanted to play basketball. Whatever it is. I don't park in the street except as an assist to something else we're trying to accomplish. And what's cool, and I say this now, I haven't gone upstairs yet. So far, I've only received one ticket for overnight parking illegally because at least it seems that the policy in Amherst, and I might just be lucky and I might be blowing myself in and they might start racking up $25 tickets on me for when this happens. But it seems as though, even though they say don't park in the street overnight, it really is because of the plows. It's not a means by which to collect $25 from idiots. It's don't put your car in the street. We need to plow. And then when it doesn't snow, you don't get a ticket. The one time that I did get a ticket, it was about a year ago. It was like this time of year, maybe February. But it was like a surprise snow overnight. And they're like, well, we asked you not to do this, and we were going to let you go, but it's snow. This is all the story I made up in my head about how the cop / it's not a meter maid, there's no meter, but how the cop processed the decision to give me a ticket. It happened once. I gladly paid, I think it was $25 for the privilege of parking in the street illegally many, many times and not getting busted. The big problem until very recently is that my wife, who is not tall, flat out refused to drive my truck at all, even moving it in and out of the driveway. Now, she has since done it maybe twice, and there's a chance she did it last night too. I'm actually very much looking forward to finding out the answer to this whenever it is that I take a break. Or I will have forgotten about it by the time I take a break, and we won't do it. But there's nothing I can do right now. I could look at, oh, yes, there is. I keep saying this. I've got the Ring doorbell. Ring doorbell. Let's see if we are in the driveway or in the street. Because I came down here when I gave up. The hockey was over. I was done with baseball. I wanted to watch a couple things that I had like backed up in the DVR, if you call it that. I don't even know what you call it anymore. And I didn't want to go outside and tell him he had to stop practicing basketball. But next thing you know, I'm asleep, you know. So let's see if our cars are in the driveway. This is exciting. I know hers is because she drove him to school today. Is my truck? It is in the driveway. Look at that. Both in the driveway. She moved it. I think it's time to let the 13-year-old move cars. She does not agree with me. She did say that maybe it would be okay if we had like a really long driveway and you weren't backing into the street, you were just backing up in the driveway to create space for basketball. Maybe that would be okay. And there is room to do that, honestly. If you backed up to the sidewalk, they could have like a little, it'd be fine. I'd get ball marks on my truck, for sure. That happens anyway. But despite the fact that he'll be 14 when? A couple months. It's almost 14. But he's my size. And if you were driving, like if I just said, you know what, Zach, I know you're not supposed to drive until you're 16, but I'm sick of carting you around. Here are the keys to the truck. Now, I'd have to give him a little bit of lesson, little something. But he wouldn't go far. He'd mostly just hang in the neighborhood, in theory. Ooh, and I can track him because I had a GPS chip implanted behind his ear. No, because of his phone. If you pulled up next to or you drove past my son driving the truck, I don't think you'd even flinch. Like, hey, that kid shouldn't be driving. I think it would look fine. The others, no. You can't do that with Nate, who's, 5'4", 5'2". I think he's 5'2", and Drew's 4'8" or something. They can't do it. Zach's 6'3", weighs 200 pounds. Got a big head of hair. It's like if I was decent looking and young and could run and play guitar. I hadn't already seen his life pass him by. It's like that. No one would object. You wouldn't look and go, what is going on over there? A cop wouldn't pull him over. I mean, maybe because he can't drive, they'd pull him over. But aesthetically, this kid at age 13, almost 14, could absolutely get away with being behind the wheel of a car. And I think that he should start moving the car in and out by himself because of exactly what just happened. He needed the cars moved right after school. He needed to play basketball at 10:30. I didn't want to wait until 11:30 for him to be done playing basketball and come say, hey, Dad, I'm done. You can move the cars back. I didn't want to do that. Or I don't want to do that. So I think we should just let him do it. But I got to convince my wife. It's not going to happen. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to go through the chat and see where that lands us. There's a big chunk of it I want to skip because I'm going to save that for the next segment. All right, so we're going to start with this. That's the part we're skipping. I mentioned I think I'm going to go to 3 baseball games this year. AC man guessed Toronto, Cleveland, and Miami. And I said no. Toronto, Philly, and Miami. But he was close. It was good. 2 out of 3. Tickets were only $35 for 300s last night. Could have took the whole fam. Yeah, I don't need to go. I'm into it. I've gotten my wife 90% into it. The kids are not yet there. We don't need to do it. My youngest did come home with a buy one, get one free ticket voucher. They had Sabres Day at school or something. And I'm considering in one of these few remaining home games, trying to just, me and him will go. Maybe. He'd be into it because he got the thing from school. But as far as like taking a family of 5 to the hockey game, even at $35 a piece, it's not going to be worth it. They don't care enough. I'm ready to go back in the building. If I took one kid, he'd be into it. But like as a family, it's just, nah. Brad, are you still promising to come to a Niagara Falls Americans game? I said, he says, season opener June 6th. It's better than the Bison's opening tomorrow. That sounds cold. Although it's decent today. It was decent yesterday. Maybe it'll be fine. No promise. But I do like the idea, is what I said. Then I said it was the last song I was going to play. Somebody said last song because coffee isn't ready yet. Coffee is not an issue here. I prefer old coffee. My coffee policy at home is to take whatever's left. My wife makes a pot most days, weekdays anyway, makes a pot of coffee, and whatever's left over from the previous pot, she pours into a plastic cup. And if I see a plastic cup of coffee sitting on the counter, I know that's for me. It's like my dog bowl. Because I don't like hot beverages. I don't believe in hot beverages. Makes no sense. I'm thirsty. Doing this doesn't quench thirst at all. There's no point. So I don't believe in hot beverages. She knows that. People also think stale coffee's bad. I think stale coffee's great. So I get, there's only like this much of it in a cup. Threw a little splash of creamer in and went, oof, room temperature, good to go. And then we switched to, this doesn't look like water, but it is. On the bottom it looks like water. And then there's still a little bit of fruit punch flavor. Pretty good. That was $1 at 7-Eleven. My favorite coffee is iced coffee at 7-Eleven. This is not an endorsement. Well, it is an endorsement, but it's not a paid endorsement. The way that people crave Starbucks or crave Tim Hortons or just crave coffee in general every day, like once a week, I want the super chemically iced coffee from 7-Eleven. And not every 7-Eleven has the proper dispenser. Some of them, they just have regular coffee and you have to put ice in it yourself, and that doesn't work. It's got to be cold or room temperature and then the ice. But the stuff at 7-Eleven is fantastic. I took a chance last week on a new flavor, and I have thought about it several times. I'm not positive what I think. It was called Blueberry Crumble. Do I need blueberry in my coffee? The answer is probably no. And the day that I bought it was also the day that we got knocked out of the basketball playoff. So maybe it's bad luck. Maybe I shouldn't get that. But I do crave it, and like now I'm talking about it, and I want it now. But going in there to buy specifically, I go to it's 2 or 3 7-Elevens away from where I live. Like the closest one does not have the machines. The second closest one stopped being a 7-Eleven and became some other thing. So I'm just independent, whatever it is. Convenience store that used to be a 7-Eleven. And I haven't checked to see if they still have the machine. My guess is no. So I have to go 3 7-Elevens away to get this stuff, but I like it. And I was in there, and they have the table set up of just dollar rewards something, and one of them was these drinks. And how do you not buy one of these for $1? So I've been using this as a water bottle for a week because I don't know where my water bottles went. They're all over the place. There's one in a basketball bag. There's one in a baseball bag. There's one in a car. There's one in the van. There's probably one in the kitchen. They're all over the place. But I've got the 2 that I really like, and they haven't been readily available to me. So I've been drinking out of this guy. What was my point? Coffee. Oh, I like coffee cold, not hot. Nick agrees. Brad knows how to coffee. That's the way to go. I said add a little creamer and ice if the ice maker is behaving. It's not. I am so sick of defrosting my ice maker with a heat gun, which my heat gun died. So now I'm using a hair dryer. But to use the hair dryer, I have to go upstairs and borrow it from my wife because, surprise, I don't use a hair dryer. Why is there coffee sitting out in the first place? Well, I think I explained that. She makes coffee, then she drinks coffee, and then when it's time to make coffee again, there's extra coffee in the coffee pot. So she dumps the the old coffee into a cup, and then that is for me. I like old coffee. Nick answered, and this is probably right, because you always make extra if you're an old coffee guy. I am old, and I like old coffee. So however you meant that, it's true. But no, she just makes a pot of coffee and doesn't drink an entire pot of coffee over the course of the day. And then it keeps recycling. Wake up in the morning, there's some left from yesterday. That's mine. Sometimes it's this much. This time it was like this much. And then she gets new. And then tomorrow there will likely be some available to me. She even offered when she saw the tiny amount of coffee I had. She's like, there's more in there. I said, yeah, but it's hot. And the ice maker's doing what it does. Do you guys have ice makers? I really thought the lap of luxury was going to be owning a refrigerator with an ice maker and a water spout where you always had that thing to fill up. And it's more of a pain than you would ever expect because the ice maker always freezes up. And it's not just me. Like, I'll talk to a friend, like, oh, yeah, the dispenser doesn't work. The ice makes the ice fine, but the dispenser doesn't work. So you got to reach in and pull the stuff out, which I think is probably better than my problem, which is it works great for 4 days, and then it's frozen. And also the water, no matter how often I change the filter, the water wants to just drool out. You use it, and it'll stand here for 5 minutes waiting to fill up a cup of water. Not 5 minutes. I'm exaggerating, but it stinks, man. It should be better. Ice makers, water dispensers should be better. All right, I said it was going to be the last song. Every song that you heard leading into the show today was from one of my favorite bands of all time, Mara. They're awesome. Nobody commented on how great the music was, but it was great, I assure you. In fact, that's the shirt. Thunder Pie is a website run by the guitarist from Mara, Serge. He's awesome. Brad, you could go to the Muck Dogs home game against the Niagara Falls Americans. Good reason to get Long John baseball and Long John silver in one day. I'm kind of off of Long John silver. I'm at least off of the Batavia location of Long John silver for now. I'm not saying I'll never go again. I'm just saying that my last experience there made me, it quelled any cravings that I have. I do, on occasion, crave that horrible fried fish and the hush puppies. And the last time I was there, it wasn't great. I had the kids all fired up for it, told them how great it was going to be, and it simply was not. So I'm a little down on particularly the Batavia Long John Silvers. Won't get into details on it, but you can't run out of tartar sauce. You can't be out of tartar sauce and vinegar. And there's not even mayonnaise. Like, mayonnaise is like fake tartar sauce. No. What I was craving was all of it. And you get there, and like half of it's not there, and you already paid for it, and it just drove forever to get. No. So I'm not feeling great about Long John Silver's right now. Got to sing happy birthday to Coach tomorrow, Brad. I'm not going to remember. It was a good night to be a Yankees fan. I missed it. I was at the arena. It was a good night to be a Bruins fan, too. Sabres fan, too, though. It was encouraging. Brad, if you sing happy birthday tomorrow, I'll take you to the Bisons game. No thanks. On the Bisons game, and I'm not going to sing. I have a birthday idea. Can we do I'll do the birthday idea now. You're getting it a day early. Give me a minute on that. Hold on. The more I hear about this game, it sounds like a baseball game interrupted a Netflix commercial, not the other way around. Yeah, it felt very All-Star Game-y. And again, I was in and out because I was flipping back and forth between the Sabres game that I cared more about, but I liked the vibe of, hey, baseball's starting. My wife noted, and I agreed, she didn't come up with this early enough for me to scientifically track it, but it seemed as though the national broadcast, the TNT broadcast of the Sabres, as if they made a conscious effort to show fewer commercials. And I don't know if they extended intermission or something, But it felt as though it was influenced by soccer coverage, where the game just kind of keeps going. My wife's observation was that at some point, our youngest asked for ice cream. I said, Drew, don't you think you should be able to do ice cream by yourself? It's in the freezer. You just use the scoop. You put it in a bowl. You get a spoon. That's all you got to do. And he said, it's better when Mom does it. I like it better when Mom does it. And I turned and looked at her and I said, I like it better when Mom does it too. And she laughed. Ha ha ha. But she said she intended to get him ice cream as soon as there was a commercial, and that it went like 10 minutes with no commercials. Now, I don't know if she meant 10 hockey minutes or 10 real minutes, because 10 real minutes seems reasonable. 10 hockey minutes seems crazy. But from the time that she noted that, it took forever before there was another commercial. So I said it was kind of interesting that we have gotten, if this is true, and even if it's not true, if they just did something to make it feel less choppy and broken up on the hockey broadcast, that's a positive. But simultaneously, Netflix, which is a streaming service I've been paying for as long as I can remember, and is commercial free, suddenly you put on a baseball game, it's like, hey, good news. You now, as a Netflix customer, get to receive live events. This is on the screen. And it was like they were saying it in this voice. I don't remember the exact words, but congratulations. As a subscriber to Netflix, you're now entitled to watch live events with commercials. Like, wait a minute. What are you doing? So now I'm flipping between two things. TNT noticeably, we think, showing fewer commercials. Netflix now showing commercials. And there's just no way to get around it at this point. Everybody is attempting to grab every revenue stream that they possibly can on every given platform. If you could just not worry about what other people are watching, you wouldn't need to pay a dime for television. As long as you've got internet, you wouldn't need to pay a dime. Because I was even on, there's this app I use called Plex that, like, I have a bunch of stuff on a hard drive here, and, you know, we say you can play stuff around the house from there. But there's also a live TV aspect in there, and I scrolled through. There's like hundreds of channels available live, free, and it's the same way on a Roku TV. It's the same way on a Chromecast. It's the same way on a Fire Stick, I assume, where there's just endless. I'm going to call them networks, but they can't be actual networks. Endless channels that you could just watch for free. Like, I went out of town at one point. I was in an Airbnb by myself for a day. Like, I got there a day early waiting for whatever the event was. So I was just in this house by myself, and I brought a Chromecast. I ended up watching nothing but Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. It was just a channel that exists. So I don't know who did it, where it is, but it was nothing. It's 24/7, just old episodes of The Tonight Show. That was fine. If not for, like, live sports, really. The Oscars, but the Oscars come in over the air. Like, what do I need to watch live? There's stuff. If you're just like, I want to watch something on television, the fact that we're paying for it ever is crazy. But I am paying for lots of it. Stupid. All right, let's see. The more I hear about the game, I just read that one. One thought, you could have your son pull the vehicles back in when he's done so he doesn't have to back up. Well, okay. Except for the fact that I pull out of the driveway. I usually move the truck first. So this is confusing with the left-right thing. I'm just going to do it as I do it. I take the truck, I go there, and then I take the van and just go there. And that was backwards looking to me, but I always park on the left with the truck. I back the truck up to the right, and then I pull it forward. So when I park them, we split the drive, like there's a driveway in between the two vehicles. But I could back both up and then make both go forward. I'm asking for disaster. And it's a thing that I've thought about too. If I have one insurance policy and I have two vehicles and I bang one of them into the other one, I really can't blame anyone but myself. And then that's way worse if it's a 13-year-old. The reality is that it's probably not a good idea. I still want to do it, though. For some reason, my fridge makes 4 kinds of ice. I'm going to need details on that. Maybe as I scroll through, I'll find out. All right, it does. Craft balls. Your freezer makes craft balls? I have so many little, like, rubber molds. So I bought the original whiskey ball when that first came out, or when I first became aware of it, and I love it. But they just send you 2 of them. And I was like, well, I can get other... So I've got all these different little crafty ice maker things, but that's all in the basement. In the kitchen, I just want to go, and it fills up. All right, so what are the 4 kinds of ice? Craft balls, crushed, small cubes, large cubes. It doesn't make 4 kinds of water. Jackie Moon, have you ever heard of me? Jackie Moon is the basketball semi-pro, semi-pro, right? The Tropics. That's Jackie Moon. Will Ferrell? I think so. AC, what is your real name? And have you ever heard of me? Oh, boy, we're doing this. No real names. We don't need real names. That's not 4 kinds of ice. So I guess mine makes 2 kinds of ice. It makes 1 kind of ice, but then it will crush that ice. Your freezer doesn't make crushed ice. Your freezer makes ice, and then it crushes the ice. But still, 3 kinds. Large, small, and craft ball. That's nice, man. That's nice. Your description of last night's game is accurate. If it was a better game, it might have seemed more like a game. But yes, it just felt like a Netflix special. Felt like Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, minus the streaming issues. But I'm all right with that. I don't mind a different flavor to my baseball broadcast. AC knows my real name, and Mrs. Coaches, too. All right, that's a great story. Birthday thing. I remembered. Leave that open. Not that. All right. Coach, drunk, Chris. I'm going to need your first name. Is Chris right? Is Chris your first name? If you want a happy birthday, you need to tell me your first name. I'm going to assume it's Chris. I'm waiting, though. I'm going to wait until you tell me. Is it Chris? This doesn't work if you don't tell me. I'm going to make you Chris. All right. I don't know if we've done this on the show before or not. Hunter? Well, you're Chris.
It's your birthday today. Chris! It's your birthday today. Chris!
No. Come on. I'm going to change it to Hunter. I'll change it to Hunter. Except the thing is melting on me. See, this is what it's like dealing with the... Frustrating. I just tried to go full screen, and it was like, oh, do you mean stop and have the screen go blank? No, that's not what I meant. Oh, I didn't put it on the screen yet. Perfect. Okay, good. Okay, let's just pretend that last minute didn't happen. And we'll jump forward to this. This is a party. You're going to like this. You just Google, it's your birthday today, any name.
Western New York
And then sometimes
is
you get a
tough,
4-second
resilient,
commercial.
built to last. For generations,
Look at
Buffalo
that.
State...
Skip.
It's your birthday today. Hunter! It's your birthday today. Hunter! Rock and roll and celebrate. Celebrate we will. Lose control and you cut the cake. Cut that cake. Night is yours. Destiny awaits. Oh, wait with so me. Share toast with your closest mates. It's your birthday today. Hunter! It's your birthday today. Hunter! Grab your goodie bags. Open your gifts. Blow out your candles.
It's good, right? See? That's better than me singing. I have ideas, man. You'd give me a little germ of something. Boom. The thing wasn't centered the way I wanted it to, but I gave up on that because when I hit F5 to try to make it full screen, it was worse. And it stopped. And then the screen went blank. What are you going to do? $11:02. All right. Time out. Be right back. It's Riter Radio. You stop. I'm going to play the thing. Bum, ba, bum. And then the thing. See, it's that easy. If you just maintain some level of calm, even if the thing goes wrong, you just go, no, not that. That is almost always the solution, is turn on the microphone. Even if things are going awry, you turn on the mic. I had a problem when I was at LVL. There were a couple times where the computer just took over, and it took over the whole studio and killed the mic. So I couldn't even turn on the mic to be like, sorry, we're having problems here. I couldn't do anything. But here, I can always turn the mic on. Well, I've always been able to turn the mic on, and that time I was able to turn it on. Ska classic from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. I might have that. That was Goldfinger Superman, as requested by AC Man in the chat. I said, I don't think you guys have failed me once. Just every now and then. And feel free to do that. Just I can't always get to it. I might have a plan. But I'll see if I can get that on for you. People at radio stations are lying. I'm not lying. I tell the truth. Funny story. We're in the car the other day, the van. We're in the van that still has a CD player. And I miss CD players. I wish there was still one in my truck. I was shocked and horrified the first time I heard about it. It was John Fuller. He got a new vehicle. He won it with a hole-in-one in a golf tournament. He's still driving it. It's a Jeep something. And he got it, and he was so excited. And then he said, there's not a CD player in it. And I hadn't even thought of the fact that there would ever not be CD players in cars. One of my favorite vehicles I ever owned was an Impala. It was, God, what year would it have been? Probably like a 2000-ish, 2002, 98, 99, I don't know, Impala. It had CD and cassette. Oh. For like old nostalgia guy like me, I still have cassettes laying around. Mixtapes are the best. Mixed CDs are the best. It's just like, because I used to, there was a period where I would name my mixtapes like hurricanes. So I remember the first one was Hurricane Antonio. And then I would put the date on it. And then I went pretty far into the alphabet with mixtapes named like hurricanes, A, B, C, D, whatever. But I would always put the date. And then once it got to mixed CDs, I didn't name those. I just put the date on them. But I love being able to grab a CD and like, what was I listening to in March of 2001, for example, and just throw it in, and it was cool. So the other day, we're in the car, and I've given, when my wife and I got together, we both had a ton of CDs. And one of the first purchases we made together was this, $200 rack that holds 1,000 of them or something. And it's still over there, and it's full. But since we both were kind of psycho music people, I went through, and there were duplicates. There were quite a few duplicates. And they're good. They're like very standard duplicates. If you were to try to give, and this is for sure how my 13-year-old listens to music from the 90s, because he's got a CD player in his room and loves it. But I took the whole thing, alphabetized it. So they were alphabetized at the old house. Then we moved, and then for a couple of years, they were not alphabetized. I was like, you know what? I'm taking a weekend to alphabetize these CDs. And that's when I found all the duplicates. So it's like, yeah, here, you can have Pearl Jam 10. You can have Verses. You can have Nevermind. You can have Siamese Dream. But one of them is And Out Came the Wolves, which is Rancid. So now when I get in the van, there's always a CD in there. And lately he's been on a Pearl Jam kick. My son has been on a Pearl Jam kick. He doesn't drive, as we mentioned earlier. But from riding in the van with my wife, he always brings a CD. So there's like 5 CDs sitting in there. And it's Pearl Jam. I think Alice in Chains Sap is in there. But he had And Out Came the Wolves. And we're driving to a concert. When we go to a concert, like a school concert, we can go to see Rancid. But when we go, typically, my mother-in-law will drive here and then get in the car with us, and then we'll go there because parking stinks at the school. So it's me in the front, my mother-in-law in the passenger seat, my wife behind her, the kids in the back too. And we get in the car, and I don't know what came on, if it was Ruby Soho or if it was just no, it wasn't. It was Journey to the Center of the East Bay by Rancid. And my mother-in-law, who is, I don't know, 75 years old, she just looks at me and goes, "Is this ska?" I was like, well, I wouldn't quite call Rancid ska, but it's ska adjacent. And let's talk about that era of music. I missed it. I've got this disc called Ska, the Third Wave. It's just the best. It's got Mephistopheles on it. It's got, what are they? MU 330, I think they're called. They're named after the music class that they met in. There's a song called William Shatner. I should just play ska on this show. Maybe tomorrow. I'll play all the best songs from that era. Because, the Bosstones are in there too. They're kind of the intro version. But there was a time period when live horns were a part of what I will call rock music. And it was awesome. I remember going to something downtown. I don't know what it would have been. But there was a music festival. It was on like Chippewa and maybe Delaware. But it kind of wrapped around and they closed off the streets and there were multiple stages. 5440 played there. Another, I'm losing it right now. Treble Charger played there. So they were like Canadian bands. And I don't think it was Music is Art. I think it was something else, but it might have been Music is Art. Because I'm picturing it on Chippewa, not like Elmwood and Allen. Because I feel like Music is Art was more there. But anyway, what I remember was way before the bigger name bands were playing, there were local bands. And there was this like 12 or 14 piece band, just clearly big fans of the Bosstones. But it was just the coolest, like daytime, outdoor, beer in your hand, downtown ska. And it was just like, we live in a fantastic time. I remember appreciating how good the music was in the 90s while it was the 90s and thinking, like, this is special. And then there's a part of me that's like, no, it's special because you're 22 years old. That's why it's special. No, it was great. Bada boom, bada bing, and then Stuff. There's a song called Stuff by MU 330. I think it's MU 330 that I love. I don't want. What is it? I'd know if it was playing. I would know every word, but I don't feel like singing it. There's a William Shatner song that's great. Everything by Mephistopheles is great. Saba, 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 Saba. I'm gonna do all of that stuff tomorrow. Maybe today. No, probably tomorrow. Scott Adjacent. Oh, Nick. Scott Adjacent. That's I'm disappointed in myself for not saying that. Ska adjacent. This is why we get along, Nick. That and the cool signs you made me. Prior to the show today, need more live horns. Yes. Oh, let me throw this out there. And I don't know if I'm going to go because I feel like I'm buying too many tickets for too many things lately. But just saw yesterday that one of my favorite tribute bands of all time is coming to town again. I believe it's May 1st at Asbury Hall, which is the Ani DeFranco Church thing, which is the same place I saw them twice. Start Making Sense, which is a Talking Heads tribute that is so fun and so cool. And they're coming and they're bringing their horn section again. There's a horn group that was with them. I saw them twice, and the second time was with horns, and it was awesome. I went by myself the first time. No, I didn't. I met my friend Steve there. I met my friend Steve the first time. The second time, I took my kids, 2 of them, the 2 older ones. It said all ages on the tickets or on the website. And then when I got there, there was trouble. They're like, wait a minute, how old are they? I was like, I don't know, 13 and 11 or whatever they were. It was probably 12 and 10. And they're like, we got to check on that. I was like, well, it said that they could come. And then they went and got the head of security. And the head of security was a woman who I knew from when I used to do trivia night at Transit Music Lounge. And my kids used to come and help me. So this woman came out like, keep these kids out of here. And she came out. She's like, oh, it's you? And it's these kids? And it was crazy because it was like, oh, no, they're fine. I see them in bars all the time. Was essentially why we got a pass. And then we went in, and it was great. But they're playing again. I think it's May 1st. Start Making Sense at Asbury. I said Asbury Hall, right? Asbury Park is Springsteen. Asbury Hall. The DeFranco Church. Start Making Sense. I recommend it highly, highly, highly. Even if I don't go, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I can't just go to everything. And I'm sure we'll have baseball. It's just that's the way it is. We're getting into heavy baseball season. All right, before the show started today, someone, I believe, Shatner's by Scofflaws. Shotgun Jimmy, I was running around. Shotgun Jimmy, da-da-da-da-da. Yep, by the Insteps. Uncle Josh knows what's up. He's our senior music correspondent, Uncle Josh. Hasn't been on in a while. Maybe Ska Friday. Saba, 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 hey, hey, hey. Hey, what's this button for? Doomsday. I want to hear that now. I'm not stopping. I'm not going to stop now and play more. I just played a bunch of music. Maybe I'm going to hit you with ska at the end of this. Let me see if that album exists on Spotify. That'd be cool. Ska the Third Wave is what it's called. Oh boy, they have many volumes. I don't know which volume I had. It's not that one. Top results. Ska the Third Wave, volume what? Volume 3. No, I think volume 1 is what I'm looking for. Ska the Third Wave, volume 1 and 2 is a playlist. And there is the cover of Mephistopheles' album called God Bless Satan. Pie Tasters, Dance Hall Crashers, Mustard Plug. Yeah. This is the stuff right here. I'm not hitting play. There it is. Doomsday, Too Stupid. I want to love you, but you're too damn stupid. I want to love you, but you're too dumb. Othello, I don't totally remember. Saba, yes. Night Before. I think I loved you even more. What? The night before. The night before we met. I think I love you even more than I did the night before. Yep. Dub 56. Stuff I love. Yeah, we're going to do some of that. It's going to be today. It might be today and tomorrow. Petition to make every Friday Ska Friday. Maybe. Ska Report tomorrow. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Josh. I got Scott at 11. Scott Wilson will be on at 11 o'clock. Scott Wilson. Josh, 10:30? While you're here, take your time answering. Friday Scott. I'm still playing some today. All right, before the show started today, somebody, I think Nick, sent a link. Yeah, it was Nick. Said, hey, here's maybe some show content. And I could not start the show with this because I thought if I start the show with this, I'm never going to talk about anything else. So I wanted to talk about the Sabres. I wanted to talk about baseball. I wanted to at least mention that the NCAA tournament's going again today. Although this is the disappointing day of the tournament. I know it's the Sweet 16. I know it's getting more exciting and intense. But you just tune in and there just aren't enough games. We had 64 teams playing basketball 1 week ago. And now we have 16, and it's sad. But it's fun. It'll be great. That one bracket is ridiculous. And I'm looking forward to all of it. Although I'll be bouncing around tonight because in addition to the tournament getting rolling, there will be a basketball practice and a baseball practice. So I'll just be I'll be driving around listening to basketball and maybe watching it at baseball because they have TV there. Okay, here's what I didn't start with because I knew it would take up the whole show. It is a story from 2 days ago about new ballpark food for 2026. Including the Marlins Machete and the Rockies Glizzilla. I never heard of the glizzy thing, but it's apparently a hot dog term. I don't know if it's a specific type of hot dog or if it's just a term that's used for hot dog in some places, but glizzy is a word. Glizzilla is clearly going to be a large hot dog. We'll get to it. There are pictures. There are descriptions. There are some prices. There are some challenges. There's all kinds of stuff. And, there's a part of me that wanted to start the show with it, but I knew it would take up 2 hours. There's a part of me that wants to save it for when I have Scott Wilson on, but I know what he's going to do. He's going to try to make me go to all these ballparks and eat all these things in a competitive way, and I don't want to do that. But I did find out within the last couple days that I'm going to be at a Marlins game, and the Marlins Machete, while I first said, I'll eat it, then I saw it, I'll share it. And I don't want to bring Scott Wilson into this, calling me a coward for not wanting to take on a machete. It's probably a $50 taco. It's 2 feet long. I just want to look up what glizzy, not Glizzilla, glizzy definition before we get into the actual article. Glizzy. Popular slang term for a hot dog used particularly in the D.C. area before going viral online. Originating from hip-hop slang for a Glock handgun, the term was applied to hot dogs, often with excessive toppings and frequently associated with the glizzy gobbler meme. I don't want to get into that. It sounds like it could get a little dicey. So let's just go to the story that starts with Marlins Machete, Rockies Glizzilla, Top 2026 new ballpark grub. And I've got it set up to be on the screen. I think it's going to look, yeah, I did it the right way this time. It's sized properly. Look at that. So we're just going to read along together, and then you can see the pictures. And this is what will happen for the rest of the show, unless I decide to stop to play ska music, because it's Riter Radio, episode 284. Also, another quick announcement. Don't expect shows next week. I think I mentioned this once this week so far. I'm going back on WGR again next week from 1 to 3. Again, no further plans beyond that, but it'll be me in studio all 5 days. Owen Parker will be in studio with me for the first 3 days because Tim Graham will be at, I'm going to call it the owners' meetings, but I think they call it something else now, but it's that. So Tim will be at that in Phoenix. I'll be in studio with Owen. I intend for the Sabres to clinch a playoff spot while I'm on the air. Not from 1 to 3, but during next week, I think is when a playoff spot gets clinched. So I'll get to be there for that, which is cool. Especially because the last time I worked there, they were good. And look at this. They let me back in the building, and we're going to have playoff hockey again. Did you miss playoff hockey since, 2011? I've been gone since 2007. But did you miss it? Because they haven't won a playoff series since I left. And look, Brad's back in the building. Brad's key fob works again. Look, the hockey team's in the playoffs. So we'll get to do a little celebratory dance at some point next week, I think, assuming things go well. They have lost 2 in a row, but they've gained points in each of them, and magic number is at 10 going into tonight. The Islanders play the Stars, who are one of the 2 teams at last check that have clinched a playoff spot. And, yeah, it would have to be still them. So they're the only 2 that are in. Vancouver's the only one that's out. Dallas plays the Islanders tonight. And if Dallas wins in regulation, the magic number drops to 8 for the Sabres, by my calculations. I haven't seen a magic number chart anywhere, but that makes sense to me. All right. America's Pastime doesn't just include the action on the diamond. It extends to the food at the ballpark. We don't have to talk about all that. Here's the new stuff. Marlin's new machete menu item is served in a custom carrying case. 2-foot homemade flour tortilla, griddled on the flat top with melted mozzarella and Osaka cheeses, house marinated carne asada, smoky guajillo pepper sauce. Guajillo. Salsa verde and cilantro. You had me at all of these things. You had me at machete. 2-foot sounds excessive. Flour tortilla griddled. That's like a crunch wrap or like a quesadilla. Like a quesadilla. It's a massive quesadilla. Ready for the picture? I've got a picture. There she is. She's a beauty. Looks like a walleye. Yeah, like a walleye-sized taco quesadilla, please. Looks like a mess. It comes in a case. I'm going to a Marlins game. Yes, on this one. Yes, on the machete. The melted cheese sounds great. House marinated carne asada sounds great. I don't know what a guajillo pepper is. Guajillo. Yeah, guajillo pepper. I don't know what that is, but yes. Salsa verde, yes. Cilantro, hell yes. That looks like a delight. I actually felt my stomach churn like I'm going to feel 36 minutes after I consume half of one of those. I would do a foot long. This much of that, yes. I can't even, my hands I can't even, no. So that's a split for me, but yes, I'm in. More innovations. Chicken and churros. Okay, that's the Cubs offering. I see the churros. I don't see chicken. Maybe the chicken's at the bottom. Is there a description here? Crispy fried chicken thighs served with golden brown churros, ancho syrup, and fresh strawberries. I bet it's great. Mixing salty and sweet tends to always work out. I didn't understand chicken and waffles for a long time until I had chicken and waffles. And then I understood it. And while it's not something I crave on a regular basis, I get how the two things go together. I didn't used to. But yes, it's chicken and waffles, except it's churros. Fine. I'm feeling that gave me stomach pain again. All right, Diamondbacks, take me out to the ball game. Shake, salted caramel shake, whipped cream, peanut butter sandwich cookies, Kit Kat bars, and Cracker Jack. That looks stupid. That's not a shake. That's more of a sundae. Also, shakes. You kind of can't do better than vanilla milkshake. Like, the texture is what makes the shake great. And they're completely messing with the texture. Like, what am I doing with my straw here? How's a straw helping me with Kit Kats? Or what else is in there? Cookies. Also, salted caramel is not a proper shake flavor to me. Whipped cream makes sense. Peanut butter, you're drying it out. I love peanut butter as much as the next human being, as much as every animal on earth. But that's not a shake to me. Is it popcorn? Oh, Cracker Jack. It's Cracker Jack. Yeah, so it is popcorn. That's not a shake. That would be eaten with a spoon. I mean, I'm not saying people won't enjoy it. I see some things to like. But don't call it a shake. The shake is way down there. So you put the straw in, if you drink, if it's viscous enough, non-viscous, if the viscosity is, I don't know which end is high viscosity and which is low. I guess high is liquidy, right? If it's liquidy enough that you can put the straw in there and then drink the thing, now I've just got a mess of candy. That requires, plus it's hot. It's Arizona, so it's indoors. But still, that just seems like melty mess requiring, first of all, you got to pay a lot of attention to it while fly balls could be coming at your face. Don't like that. But it looks like it requires a straw and a spoon and probably the beverage holder thing, but you're only using one corner of it, so it's not going to be very balanced. And all of the napkins. I'm going thumbs down on this one. Very, very, very yes on the machete. Sure on the churro chicken thing, maybe. I'm going no on this. We move on. The DC Monument Chicken Tower. Nope. That is a knife and fork project. Might be delicious. Everything I see there looks great. I see chicken. I see cheddar. I see bacon. I see too many pickles. I see what might be a pretzel brioche kind of bun. That all looks great. I'm out in public trying to eat. Sandwiches, tall sandwiches don't make sense to me. Certainly for a baseball game. Inspired by the towering landmark, a sandwich featuring grilled chicken, smoked bacon, mixed greens, chipotle ranch, and Gruyere cheese on a soft pretzel bun. All right. First of all, that pretzel bun does not look soft. Even though I said brioche, I misspoke. Because after I said brioche, I went, no, pretzel. Doesn't look soft. And just think of the damage. First of all, the pickles have to come off. You can't just eat the pickle. You can't just bite around that. This is a knife and fork meal. I'm not saying they didn't come up with a delicious combination here. This is actually reminiscent. There was the summer I lived in Montauk, which is 1995. There was a deli called Gaviola's, and they had a sandwich called the Nor'easter, I want to say, and it was very similar to this. It was a breaded patty, breaded chicken patty, cheddar, lettuce, tomato, onion, bacon, and then some kind of magic. And I have at least 5 times in the last 30 years tried to recreate the Nor'easter at my house, and I've never been successful. This looks like an attempt at that, but that wasn't so tall and annoying. This, you'd need a knife and a fork and a table and half an hour and privacy. And then the men's room. I'm out on this one. Tampa Bay Rays Oreo brownie milkshake. Already feeling no. Yeah, same thing. There's too much going on. Sprinkles on the side of my cup. What are we doing here? We're trying to go margarita on us? Chocolate soft serve milkshake. Okay, that's good. Oreo rimmed cup. A nod to the Rays City Connect uniform. Is there City Connect uniform rimmed in Oreos? I don't think it is. Topped with a mini ice cream cone and a brownie wedge. This is better than the other one, especially using the term soft serve. It implies that straw will work, and that is a great straw. Look at that straw. Oh, I like that a batting glove is reaching in for it. This is good product photography. And that's a fantastic milkshake straw. I'm okay with this one. This is better than the other. You drink it down. I'm not sure what you do with the cone, but the brownie you definitely eventually dip in the whipped cream or something. This one can work. And great photography. Love it. All right, Mariners. The Washington State Ferry Boat. The Mariners celebrate 75 years of the Washington State Ferry system and 50 seasons of the franchise with a souvenir that can hold food, too. So you get a boat to bring home. What's in it? Those wings? Looks like fries and wings. Or maybe just chicken tenders of some sort. You got multiple dipping sauces. I appreciate that. Big sauce guy here. but then I got to carry that boat around. What am I going to do with it when I get home? Fry chicken and put that chicken in the boat again? I don't love it. It's good effort. We're trying. I'm not a Mariners fan, although I am thinking we're going to try to be the Mariners in 10U baseball this year. So maybe I do want one of these. But I don't think I'll be in Seattle anytime soon, so I probably won't have one. So let's move on. All right, Philly. Philly's going Sunday, too. I don't know about these Sundays, man. Philly's changing the game with their Schwarbomb Sunday. I saw Kyle Schwarber play live in person one time, and he hit a leadoff home run at Miller Park in Milwaukee. All right, the Phillies are changing the game with their new Schwarbomb Sunday. It's a mini helmet filled with soft serve ice cream and topped with a funnel cake fried strawberry uncrustable, fresh strawberry sauce. And, well, I guess they're not going to call them Fruity Pebbles because they're probably using a generic brand of Fruity Pebbles. But those are Fruity Pebbles, man. I mean, come on. Who you fooling here? That looks like something you could actually handle, as evidenced by the person holding it in his hand. This is all right. I'm mostly intrigued by fried dough, or sorry, did it say fried dough? No, it said funnel cake. Funnel cake fried strawberry uncrustable. I kind of just want to make that at home. I don't want to eat a lot of them, but I think they would be delightful. Funnel cakes are clearly the better version of fried dough. And I'm not just saying this because I worked in a funnel cake stand at the Erie County Fair for, all through high school and the Italian festival and whatever. Shout out Angie's Funnel Cakes. Still available at your finer events over the course of the summer. And still run by my friends. Shout out to, I'll start with Mike Manione because of the funnel cake stand. And then Joe, also known as Coach Cannoli, who's at the cannoli stand, the pastry stand, whatever they call it. Funnel cake batter wrapped around an Uncrustable. I've never had an Uncrustable, but people seem to love them. Kids love them, and then it turned into like athletes love them. I can see that working out really well, honestly, because you're not trying to fill it yourself with goo. The goo's already contained within. Then you double bread it, basically. You batter the breaded thing. That seems awesome. I don't know that I would order this, but I like the concept of frying Uncrustables. There's so much left in this story. All right. This is where it gets interesting. I'm going to skip this for now because we'll just get caught up in that. All right. Mr. Met chocolate whoopie pie. No thanks. I like the vibe. I like the look. No thanks. Dubai cinnamon roll. All right. This is what Colorado's come up with. What the hell is that? Is that a ball of seaweed? Looks like alfalfa sprouts. I'm sure it's not. A cinnamon roll topped with chocolate, vanilla ice cream, pistachios. Oh, boy. Caramel puff cereal. Like sugar smacks. Golden honey smacks. That's what that looks like to me. I would like to enter a contest where I try to identify cereals in bowls. Not current ones, but the old version. Like, that's honeycomb. Those are golden grams. Those are, what's this, caramel puff cereal. Those are wheat puffs, but they're sugar smacks and they're honey smacks, and it's kind of the same thing. And then it says, and kataifi? I don't know that word, but that's probably the stringy crap we're looking at right here that is making this look far less appealing. Because that just looks like a hairball or something that doesn't belong anywhere near a dessert. Dubai cinnamon roll featuring this word I'm about to look up for all to see. You going to give me the definition, or are you just going to have come on. Traditional dessert from Turkish, Middle Eastern, and Mediterranean cuisines, Made from shredded phyllo dough, layered often with nuts, pistachios, walnuts, baked until golden and crispy, then soaked in a sweet syrup. Oh, okay. This, I feel like I've seen this one right here. This, you can't see my cursor, but the thing in the top right, I feel like I've seen that before. I don't think I've eaten it. Seems like it would resemble coconut, even though I clearly wouldn't. All right, back to the other thing. Where is it? Marlins. That's the story. Okay. We're walking through all of these. I don't care how long it takes. All right, Glizilla. Jesus. Macaroni on a hot dog is stupid. 2-foot, 1-pound hot dog designed for sharing. I need to know what's in there. I don't like the look of macaroni on a hot dog. I'll tell you that right now. What else are we seeing? Jalapenos? No. I am not opposed to a 2-foot hot dog by any stretch of the imagination. That sounds fine. But mac and cheese, it looks like, on a hot dog. No. Brisket donuts. You have my attention, Houston. 2 fried brisket donuts with barbecue sauce and homemade mac and cheese. As long as the donuts aren't donuts. Again, though, this is one of those, how am I eating this at a stadium? Like they're not even pretending to show you how they're presenting it, like, to me. How are they giving it to me? There's nothing donut about this. They put donuts in quotes. Here, I'll scroll up so you can see that. See, it's in quotes. I mean, you tell me brisket, barbecue, mac and cheese, yes. Then you add the word donuts and I'm scared. I think I'm out on that. Depending on what the donut is. What is the donut? Is it cornbread? I'm going to need more details from you, Houston. Lobster poutine. Lobster. Crispy fries, Luke's lobster meat, clam chowder, and crispy bacon. How does clam chowder fit into this? That... all I can think of is toilet. Like, that's the word. I just think that you're asking a lot. I'm out in the sun eating a cardboard thing of lobster covered in clam chowder. Oh, there's bacon too. Is that an olive? I don't know what they dump chowder over. It's a lot like seafood Newburgh. That's why I'm thinking of toilet. When I saw this at the buffet in the Bahamas, I thought it looked great, and then it ruined me for hours and became a joke that has lasted for 6 or 7 years now, because it was the most crippling. I don't know technically what constitutes food poisoning versus but it was somewhere between and hospital. Yet it was hilarious because of my pain and Scott making me laugh the whole time in a hotel room that in the Bahamas. So this is what that reminds me of. I think I've learned my lesson. Indoors, you provide this type of stuff on a plate, I think I'm probably interested. One of my favorite things I've ever eaten is called dancing seafood at Saigon, Bangkok. And it's this. It's like, yeah, give me all the seafood, make it, just give me that on a plate, all of it. I'll take it. But this, yeah, there's something not right about it. And I think it goes back to seafood Newburgh at the Bahamas. I'm going to pass on the lobster poutine. Heavy hitter dog, Pirates. No BS with the Pirates. Why is this thing up on my screen now? Get off my screen. Go away. Why? All right, heavy hitter dog. Oh, boy. What's going on here? Oh, it's on a stick. Can't have it. Come on, Pittsburgh. A foot-long hot dog with cornbread coating, yellow mustard, and pico de gallo served in a special baseball boat. Just put it on a roll. You could do the cornbread coating. I can't. Wood in my mouth, bad. I can't eat popsicle. It gives me chills thinking about wooden popsicle sticks. Are no good. I can't. Okay, no, out on that one. That's it. Oh, that's the end of the article. That allows us to go back to 999. Down 999 if you really want the truth. Down 999. All right. The 999 challenge is back and will be available at even more ballparks in 2026. Citi Field, Citizens Bank Park, Coors Field, Dakin Park is Houston now. Bear with me. I want to see the whole tweet and also the comments because this is the rabbit hole I fell in right before the show that made me say there's no way I can do this right now. All right. Houston, Kansas City, San Francisco, the other places. So they're in these cute little boxes. And I get it sort of, except for the part where this is over 9 innings and you're giving me my 9th inning beer in the first inning. Oh, the picture's not where it should be on the screen. I'm sorry. It's fine on my screen. Does that help? No, not really. Oh, well. So this is the little package that they're showing. Beers and hot dogs. So that's the point here. 999 is 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings of baseball. Nick, I was going to say the Lady and the Tramp joke about the sharing a hot dog thing. We're sharing a brain today, Nick. What's Ice-T doing over there? Look at Ice-T over in the bottom corner. There he is. How's it going, Ice? Here's my official position on a 999 challenge. I think, I hope Scott's not listening. Can I say this out loud? Just don't tell Scott I said any of this. Because I'm going to a baseball game with Scott. All right, Marlins Field is not on here. That's good. But I think, this is how I get myself into trouble, because I say stuff. Jeremy called me on this too. I say stuff, and I exaggerate a little, and then I get put into a corner, and then I defend my position, and the next thing you know, I'm trying to eat hundreds of pistachios in a hotel room. I don't think that 9 hot dogs during a 9-inning baseball game is hard. Just don't. I think for pleasure, if I go in hungry, I can't eat a meal and then go to a baseball game and put down 9 hot dogs. But if I know going in, I'm not going to eat anything else today. This is how I'm eating. And I go to a day game, go to a 1 o'clock game. I would like 2 hot dogs when I walk in anyway. And I think a couple innings later, I probably want 2 more. And I don't think you have to do the hot dog and the beer in the inning necessarily. If I just ate 9 hot dogs and it was the 3rd inning and I was done, what? I don't know the rules. But here's what I'm trying to say. I don't think 9 hot dogs is, I don't say it's not a challenge. It's by the 6th one, you're I don't know about this. But 4 hot dogs in a game for sure. For sure. You go on dollar dog night. Why would I not get 2 when I walk in and 2 again in the 4th inning? So that's 4. I know we're talking more than double that. But I don't think that I'm a big dude. I don't think that that's an issue for me to go to a 9-inning baseball game and eat 9 hot dogs. I also, assuming that they're 12-ounce beers, we're not talking about massive thing. I don't think on a summer day, again, 1 o'clock game, it's 84 degrees outside, it's sunny. I don't think 9 12-ounce beers in 9 innings would be a problem at all. There's no way on earth I'm doing both at the same time, though. One or the other. I'll drink 9 beers. I'll eat 9 hot dogs. Not on the same day. Not at the same time. Not as a challenge. No way. And I've seen people try to do it online. I've watched the vomiting that occurs. I've watched the sickness. I don't think either one of those is hard. It's the combination of the two, and I want nothing to do with that challenge. Now, the part I said about I hope Scott's not listening is he'll just call me on one or the other, and he'll want either the 9 beers or the 9 hot dogs to happen at the Marlins game in September when they play the Dodgers the night before UB plays Florida International. Speaking of which, sounds like a potential legal liability promoting excessive drinking. The teams are liable if a fan drives home drunk from the 999 challenge. Well, yeah, that's always a problem. They always have to keep an eye on that. But I think it's if you just had the 9 beers, you better not drive. If you have the 9 beers and 9 hot dogs, you can't drive because you're doubled over. So it's almost preventive. The problem is in the person who can't handle this at all, but tries and gets through like 6 beers and 2 hot dogs and has car keys. That's where you get into trouble. But I feel like anybody capable of putting down 9 and 9 either is just a machine that's not impacted by anything that goes into his or her body, or is going to be incapable of operating a motor vehicle anyway, so you're safe. If they wind up in the hospital, that's kind of on you too, I would think. I'm no legal expert. I did a video yesterday or the other day at UB, and I wonder if it's up. Because if it's up, we're going to watch it here. How do I do that? I'll just go. Oh, I was already on Twitter. All right, we'll go back to Twitter. The show's over. But I also want to see if my thing is up. Buffalo football. This will be me wearing the same shirt I wore yesterday. If it exists. This is what it's like waiting for my computer. You get to watch. Mark your calendars. No, that's football camps. That's Coyote. Awashika making the Chargers. Where's my video at? Spring practice schedule. Big man camp. It's kind of like this, but it's in the weight room as opposed to the field house. This is the new weight room, not the old weight room. I did mine in the old weight room. They haven't posted it yet, it seems. Unless it's just under the UB sports thing as opposed to the UB football thing. I don't want to turn this off and end the show and then find out that the thing is online and I could have shown it to you. UB Athletics. Let's try UB Athletics. Nah. All right. Well, some other time. And by some other time, I mean later today, but I won't be doing a show. I'll be on tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's Ska Day. And Scott Day. Scott Wilson. So stupid. So stupid, but it's funny to me. I want to love you, but it's so damn stupid. I want to love you, but you're just playing dumb. I'm doing a little ska to end the show. And then I'll be gone. I'll be back tomorrow. That'll be fun. Thanks for listening, joining. Was I right that I couldn't have started that food thing? If I started the food thing at 11, or at 10, rather, we'd be right where we are right now without any of the other stuff that happened on the show. Can I name any of the other stuff that happened on the show? No. But that's not the point.